So how do you put a book of poetry together? That's the question. And it's the question that I lived with for a couple of years as I tried various versions of this book. It kept changing, and then it began to take its own shape, its own form. It said, this is the way it needs to be. And that was an autobiographical arc, a book that really, in a way, tells my story. Now, in a sense, every poet tells his or her own story, but this book is much more intentional and designed in terms of telling that story. Of course, in a sense, it's all we got, our story. Some of us tell it in wood, like Dave Cave. Some of us tell it in the teaching we do, like Dave Cole. Some of us tell it in words of poetry. Some of us tell it in sermons. Some of us tell it in the leadership we provide. But we're all telling our own story. In telling this story, my story, I felt that it was important, in particular at this time, as Minnesota and its people considers putting discrimination into its constitution, discrimination against same-sex marriages. And so I thought maybe it's more important than ever just to say, here's my life, and it's been full of love and commitment and devotion and grief and sorrow and love. Dances at the wedding. This tells the story of 3 dances at my daughter's, my oldest child's, wedding. I drift in memory with my daughter, the bride, swirl of white lace, whisper of satin, and my feeble words spoken over her shoulder about the awkward eternity of a father's love, letting go and remembering everything. All the images crowd into these moments on the dance floor while everyone watches. First wild tantrum of the twos, screaming and kicking her objection to the necessity of snowsuits or rules of any kind, her stubborn persistence, her absolute faith. The theatrical announcement at the preschool Christmas play, "Let the wild rumpus begin." How she is poised like an accomplished actress, full presence and commanding voice, her questions about everything, the sweet desire to know the caterpillar and the chrysalis, the monarch in the jar that must be let go moments after seeing it to fly on yellow morning air. Step, step, turn, tears on the white lace, memories like a torrent rushing between the banks of this song. Finally, my arms wrap around her whole precious life. 2. Divorced but still dancing, the mother of the bride and I, the touch of other tangos in our hearts, and my grateful words spoken over her shoulder. How amazing it all is, from the storm of passion to the scramble of making a nest for another fragile breath. All the images crowd into these moments on the dance floor while everyone watches. Moonlight kisses and remodeling every room, diapers, sawdust, the mortgage and the small arguments, the pictures for each grade, art projects for the Christmas tree, year after happy year, and the distance, the slow rotting that we didn't know until the foundation shifted, the crumbling of dreams that racks the gut, the awful grief that brings us back alive. Step, step, turn, pulling her closer to say how dear the memories, the good and the hard, how the dance is what gets us here, carried by our own crazy river of darkness and light. 3. My new lover and I dance in the far parking lot under the ravenous stars. My words whispered over his shoulder, take the hand of this secret love. All the images crowd into these moments in the parking lot while no one is watching. Stories that connect at the gay fathers group. Brassy questions and copious flowers. How tenderly the body learns to trust the deep currents of the river, the pull of light. Step, step, turn, drawing him closer to say, let us dance until this darkness turns to dawn. Telling the story. Steel words, bolted and double bolted, arched and reaching from my new truth to your young mind. I worry over every weld, every cable, every turn of the wrench of logic. This bridge must bear the freight of failures and the tonnage of a father's love. Years in the making, telling the story over and over to the journal, to the mirror, to the friend who keeps saying the bridge will hold. I want you to know that all the planets still spin in their places, that nothing is different, though everything has changed. I want you to know these are the hands that balanced your wobbling bicycle, held the nail when you needed both arms to lift the hammer, steadied your leg while the doctor stitched the bleeding gash, cradled your body, and rocked your raging fever to sleep. These are the hands that will always be home. Finally, we sit at the kitchen table with plates of pot roast and mashed potatoes. I have to tell you something. And the story pours out. Emptiness of divorce, the lonely apartment, seeing them on Wednesdays and every other weekend, like drowning in loss, my lungs pounding and burning. As I start across, the bridge is a tightrope, straining with each syllable, each sweaty silence. It has been a long swim in a second womb, but I know now that I am a gay man, that I can accept my own flesh and its perfect feelings. I hope you will still love me. I am the same Father who cherished you since before you were born. The bolts didn't rattle loose. The cables didn't snap. There were no questions, no gasps, no turning away. Only, yeah, okay. Not a big deal. The steel wasn't steel at all. No perfect logic, only filaments of love woven between a father and two sons, those threads of everyday infinite affection. The rules. Plan everything, go over it in your mind 100 times, and then just let it happen. Bring dozens of white daisies, their faces still warm from the sun, still jostling each other like tea dancers, their voices careening into the sky. Pour the extravagant champagne recklessly, so we have to lick the foam off the top of the glasses. Lead me to the bedroom with just our little fingers entwined, and stop in the hallway and press my back against the rough wall with your growing passion. Light 2 candles, open the window to the warm breeze. Take your shirt off first so I can begin to map the journey I will navigate through your wilderness. Sprawl on the white sheet with every cell open, with every molecule longing. Don't worry about timing. Lose control. Give me all your attention. Keep your eyes open. Forget about death. And one more poem before a little music. I love reading these poems in church, by the way. It fits with my incarnational and sacramental theological perspective. This holy longing, I could stay forever, the way your arm is wrapped around my chest and your quiet breath keeps whispering into my neck, a soft litany of comfort and belonging. When you finally awake, our submission to each other's wishes again, the songs that a body knows by heart. I ask you to stand next to the open window so I can see the flowing river of your body shine in the morning light. On the early breeze, the long, lonely whistle of a train, the temptation of wanderlust, the stubborn thought that tomorrow you will rather be with someone else. But somewhere a robin begins the green song of spring, and I reach for your hand and pull you down to the bed still warm with our passion and our hope. I offer a silent prayer in the temple of your body as my lips anoint your holy longing.